campaign itself has been running for the full 150 years of the union's history, but it's changed. The focus has changed over that period of time.
I've been at sea for 36 years. Just recently, we copped an email at sea saying we're finished, that we're going down the gangway getting replaced by a foreign crew.
When Anthony Albanese was the Transport Minister, that over 6 years had developed the framework for cabotage coastal shipping so Australian seafarers could move cargo in their own industry, in their own country, under Australian conditions of employment, as part of the sovereign flag and the national flag flying on the stern. And for the last 9 years, we've continued to campaign in the Jobs Embassy.
We went down to the lawns of Parliament House. We took our picket line there through summer, through winter, all the delegates, talking to all the MPs, making our voice heard and being seen.
Welcome down, Tony. Thanks very much for coming along.
It was absolutely imperative that Australia has its own sovereign supply chain.
We were joined by the seafarers that were sacked, the ones that were ripped off their ship in the middle of the night, the ones that were ripped off their ships at sea in the South China Sea, like the Maralula and the Lowlands Brilliance, MV Portland, the CSL Melbourne. All of them came down there. The guys from the Hooghly Spirit, the Alexander Spirit, they were all there.
We know in Australia we have a heavy reliance on fuel from overseas, and we don't have one Australian tanker left in this country. When I went to sea in 1988, we had 15 Australian tankers on this coast, and now we have 0. Fuel security and Australian shipping go hand in hand, and Australian ships should be carrying Australian fuel around the Australian coast, crewed by Australians with the Australian flag.
Today we have an important announcement about a strategic fleet for Australia.
We've been totally brutalised in the shipping industry, and we are seeing a turnaround which is a tremendous development for the union.
We were there the day that Anthony Albanese, who was the opposition leader then, now Prime Minister, committed to saving Australian shipping with a strategic fleet.
And a Labor government that I lead will create just that.
This whole process that's being undertaken by the Albanese government gives us an opportunity to get back up the gangway.
Paddy Crumlin, our National Secretary, was appointed to the Strategic Fleet Task Force, and they came up with a number of recommendations that have gone back to government.
Where Australians could be empowered to live their lives in dignity and decency. Since Albanese got in and the formation of the task force, we have worked our way through all of the issues so that there is now a legislative framework has been proposed that there will be changes to the legislation. There will be industrial support, financial support for an industry so that we can build the shipping nation that we are as Australian seafarers under Australian shipping flag that will enrich the country and not impoverish it. We've got a lot of work to do.
For us to be able to get the Australian flag back on the back of those vessels cruising the Australian coast is critical. We've got the promise, now we've got to see the delivery. We've backed you, Albo. We need you to back us and deliver on that commitment and put the Australian ships back on our coast.
Than the Albanese-led government are going to transform and continue to transform this country into a country of democracy, sovereignty, opportunity, functionality for everybody. And on that basis, I introduce Anthony Albanese.
I'm very confident going forward with the Parliament that the Australian people elected in May. We can achieve the objectives of seeing Australian ships with Australian flags, with Australian seafarers carrying Australian goods to the world.
We turned up for the fight every day, and not just in Canberra, in every port. And not just seafarers, waterside workers, port workers, workers from other unions that were inspired by our willingness to take on the challenge and wanted to be a part of it too.